For the best meat you have ever eaten in your life, go to samsbutchershop.com. Enter the coupon code Triple T when you check out for a 10% discount. Hello, everybody. I thought we'd just go outside this morning. I'm out here because the weather's not too bad, and we're having our driveway worked on. I've got a big crew out here with a couple of dump trucks and a front end loader and whatnot. And they're putting down new gravel and what they call chert, and they're pulling up some stumps and trying to spruce the place up a little bit because my driveway really needed work. So that's what's going on, and I'm just out here on the deck, and I figured we'd just scan some news this morning and talk about what's going on. I got a lot to talk about, so let's get going. First of all, I want to lead with this. There's a headline on thehill.com, and it reads, Representative Perry says House GOP should cancel Biden's State of the Union address. Former House Freedom Caucus Chair Representative Scott Perry is calling on Speaker Mike Johnson to stop President Biden from giving his annual State of the Union address next month. And he's saying this because he wants Johnson to put some pressure on Biden to get his priorities in order. This is basically a protest which is to emphasize to Biden the need to secure the border. It's not a bad idea, but I think I've got a better idea. Of course, it would require corralling every member of the GOP, which is not going to happen, I understand. But here's my idea. What if every member of the House of Representatives in the Republican Party all coalesced and got together and decided in unison that none of them were going to attend the State of the Union address? Don't you think that would send a bigger message to Joe Biden and to the American people that we've had enough of this nonsense and we're not going to sit here and listen to you babble on for an hour or an hour and a half? We're not going to applaud you. We're not going to say anything. We're not going to do anything because we're not going to be there. If I were a member of Congress, you could not pay me to go to the State of the Union address and listen to this feckless, bumbling, rambling, incoherent, mentally incapacitated joke that is sitting in the White House right now. I really wish that every single member of Congress in the Republican Party should boycott the State of the Union address and not even go. Of course, nobody should go, Republican or Democrat, but of course the lapdog Democrats are going to go there. So maybe they can get a little camera time, but there's certainly going to be an allegiance with Joe Biden. But wouldn't it send a great message if every member of the GOP said, screw it, we're not going. We're not going to be there. We're not going to be there to witness this nonsensical event that you're putting on, this sorry production from Joe Biden. All right. There is a post on Twitter that really kind of puts things in perspective, and it has to do with Laken Riley. You may remember a couple of days ago I did a video where I talked about the murder of Laken Riley, this beautiful young 22-year-old nursing student who was attending the University of Georgia. She was in nursing school and in Athens, Georgia, and she went out for a jog one day and she never came back. And as I told you, Laken was murdered. The charge by blunt force trauma. She was murdered by an illegal alien from Venezuela. Absolutely criminal, outrageous. But I want you to notice what this post on Twitter says. Listen at this. Joe Biden posted 27 times on Twitter about George Floyd, yet he has said nothing about Laken Riley. The media has referred to her killer as a, quote, Georgia man, unquote, which is an insult to me, when in fact he is an illegal alien from Venezuela. They exploit tragedies to use for their benefit and bury the rest. In September of 2022, Laken Riley's killer illegally crossed the border. On September 11th of 2022, Kamala Harris tells Chuck Todd, quote, "We have a secure border." Let that sink in for a minute. The disastrous policies and negligence of the Biden administration is putting American lives at risk. Well, no kidding. Now, I could go on and on about George Floyd, but let me just say this about George Floyd. George Floyd is no hero. George Floyd was a criminal. He had a rap sheet a mile long, and he was placed under arrest by Officer Derek Chauvin, I believe his name is. And of course, what we've learned since then, we were all told that Chauvin had his foot on the neck of George Floyd. And you can think whatever you want about that. That's probably not proper protocol. But the truth eventually came out. Derek Chauvin is sitting in prison in Minnesota right now. And everybody was, the narrative that is, was that the officer Chauvin choked George Floyd to death. He couldn't breathe. He couldn't get any air. And he died by asphyxiation. He couldn't get any air, and that's why he died. And of course, subsequent medical exams have determined that he did not die in this manner, that he did die of a drug overdose. He was pumped up on drugs, and that's what killed George Floyd. And I don't have to relay for you because you probably already know all the things that Floyd was into. He was a crook, he was a thief, he was a dope addict. He had done a porn film. I believe he was a pimp. And George Floyd has been propped up by the leftists in America, by the woke crowd, as some sort of hero. He was not a hero. He was the opposite of whatever you would call a hero. Laken Riley, on the other hand, got no media, no press from the feckless Biden administration. Joe Biden could just gush over and over about George Floyd, using him as political leverage, as a political tool to prop up his own reelection efforts. But he ain't got boo to say about Laken Riley, this wonderful, beautiful young woman who had no criminal record as far as I know. She just goes out for a jog one day and she's murdered by the trophy of the Biden administration, yet another illegal alien who came into the country illegally just days before cackling Kamala Harris told us that, oh, our border is secure. Well, our border, of course, is not secure. Let me move on. Charlie Kirk. Gotta love good old Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk posted just today, Thursday, or maybe he posted this yesterday on Wednesday. Speaker Mike Johnson tells he had just returned from a meeting with Joe Biden in the White House, and he tells reporters of his White House meeting on the $60 billion Ukraine funding supplemental. He said, quote, it was frank and honest. Then I had a one-on-one for a period of time with the president, just he and I in the Oval Office. My purpose was to express what I believe is the obvious truth, that we must take care of America's need first. When you talk about America's needs, you have to talk first about our open border. The first priority of the country, he continued, is our border and making sure it's secure. I believe the president can take executive authority right now to change that. Well, no kidding, Mike. And I told him that again today in person. So basically he's saying we're not going to do anything about Ukraine until you first secure the American border. I hope he'll stick to his guns, but if it was Speaker of the House, Trailer Trash Tim, what I would have told Joe Biden is simply this: forget Ukraine, buddy. That's off the table. We're not talking about Ukraine, not now, not ever. We're going to talk about America, period. And what I am telling you that you must do is secure our border, period. End of story. That's all we're going to talk about, is you securing the border, you doing your job, period. Until you do that, we have nothing else to talk about, nothing else to discuss. Wouldn't it be fantastic? You know, when they do this ridiculous State of the Union address, which is not a constitutional requirement, all that the president is required to do is to communicate with Congress from time to time about the State of the Union. This stupid production they have where he goes down to Congress and he gives this rambling speech for an hour or 2 hours, and everybody stands up and cheers, is just ridiculous. It's nothing but a media op for the president. It's not necessary. It's not mandated. It's not required by the Constitution at all. So what happens is the speaker, the president comes into the congressional chamber. He stands before both houses of Congress, and the Speaker of the House then introduces members of Congress, the President of the United States. Wouldn't it be nifty if the time came for the Speaker to introduce the President to give his speech, but he wasn't there, the Speaker that is. There was nobody there to introduce the President because every member of the House of the Republican Party boycotted this stupid speech in the first place, including the Speaker of the House. Wouldn't it be something if Mike Johnson joined with every Republican and boycotted the whole thing? So when it came time to introduce the President, there was nobody to introduce him. Now, would that send the proper message to the Biden administration and to the American people or not? But the Republicans are pathetic. They have no spine. They have no backbone. They would never do anything like this. They wouldn't miss that for the world. If Mike Johnson were any kind of a leader, that's exactly what he should do. That's what I'd do. Go give your speech, but we ain't going to be there to witness it. That's what I would love to see them do. Tucker Carlson recently sat down for a wide-ranging 3-hour interview with Lex Friedman. Anytime Tucker's giving an interview, that's must-watch TV, if you ask me. You know, Marina and I don't even have a television any longer. We got rid of it because we just use our laptops. I just watch. There's nothing on TV that interests me. It's just absolutely a wasteland. What I watch more than anything else is YouTube videos. Of course, I watch trailertrashtim channel, of course, more than anything else. But I just use my laptop if I want to watch any kind of event or show or movie or what have you. It does very well, and I can put in my earplugs so that way I don't bother Marina or anybody else or anything like that. So anyway, you can. There's a lot of good content out there you can access just on your laptop. Of course, you can use a smart TV to, fire up YouTube or Fubo. We have Fubo TV, things like that. But anyway, Tucker sat down. Anytime he's giving an interview, I'll always have great interest in that. So, of course, I can't cover anything that was discussed in this wide-ranging interview, but I do want to cover one thing that he told Lex Friedman. He said simply this, that a Department of Justice official told him, this is just unbelievable to me. A Department of Justice official told Tucker Carlson, if you go and give an interview to Vladimir Putin, you are going to be subject to arrest. Can you believe what I just said? That's exactly what Tucker told Lex Friedman. If you go and give an interview to Vladimir Putin, you're going to be subject to arrest. This is America we're talking about. This is a member of the Fourth Estate, the media. This is just mind-blowing to me that a Biden justice official would tell an American citizen, if you go and interview somebody, you're going to be subject to arrest. What is that? Are you kidding me right now? Now, as we know, of course, Tucker went ahead and did the interview with Putin, and he broadcast the interview, and he came back, and as far as I know, he wasn't placed under arrest, although you may have heard, and I can't verify this, so I don't know, but you may have been heard, there's a story floating around out there that Tucker was the target of an assassination attempt while in Moscow. Now, of course, it didn't succeed, and I don't know if it's real or not, but it wouldn't surprise me. If you are a person in America who stands for liberty and you stand for freedom and you stand for being a person who can exercise your own free will and self-determination, and you will speak your mind because you take the First Amendment seriously, nobody has the right to assassinate you or suppress you. Nobody can tell a member of the press who they can and cannot interview. That is completely absurd and completely, totally unconstitutional. Of course, they would have had, the Biden Justice Department would have had no problem if Tucker wanted to go and interview Zelensky, for example. That'd be fine. Or maybe Justin Trudeau. That would be okay. But don't go and interview Vladimir Putin, because we can't control your narrative. The thing that the Biden administration feared more than anything else was word getting out and information getting out that Vladimir Putin may not be the boogeyman that they make him out to be. The Tucker Carlson interview with Vladimir Putin completely destroyed the Biden-Obama ruling narrative about Putin and about Russia. It completely undermines all of the American efforts in Ukraine. We need Russia to be a bad guy. We need Putin to be a bad guy so that we can justify all of our unconstitutional actions in Ukraine and elsewhere. We need to be on a war footing with Russia. But the Carlson interview completely disrupts and throws upside down, flips on its head, that ruling narrative. That interview was refreshing. It was revealing. It was revelatory. It showed the American people, wait a minute, maybe we're being lied to about Putin. Maybe we're being lied to about Russia, and we are. Maybe it makes a few Americans rub their chins and go, wait a minute, why are we on a war footing with these people? Could it be that Putin had justification for going into Ukraine? Could it be that Zelensky isn't the heroic statesman we are told he is? Could it be we're being lied to about Ukraine? And that is what the Tucker Carlson interview did. It destroyed the Biden-Obama narrative. That's exactly what it did. And that's why Tucker Carlson was getting these threats from members of the Department of Justice, Biden's DOJ, telling him, you go and interview Vladimir Putin, by George, you're going to be subject to arrest. It's not unthinkable, it's not unfathomable that they would do to Tucker Carlson what they've done to Julian Assange, that they would do to Tucker Carlson what they did to Edward Snowden, that they would do to Tucker Carlson what they did to Gonzalo Lira. It's not outside the realm of possibility that that assassination attempt was real and that it could have succeeded. You better believe that would be fine and dandy with the Obama-Biden administration. Don't doubt that for a minute, folks. That's absolutely how it could have gone down. All right, one more story. This just sickens me. It's just completely disgusting. Laura Loomer, God bless that gal. She is a preeminent journalist. She is doing the Lord's work out there. And I'll tell you, she is a bulldog. If Donald Trump gets back into the White House, grant this, oh Lord, she needs to be like the press secretary. That would be the perfect role for Laura Loomer. Her headline on her website, loomer.com, reads, Mitch McConnell donors to throw Washington, D.C. area fundraiser for neocon Nikki Haley. Donors to Mitch McConnell, Jeb Bush, Chris Christie, and Asa Hutchinson will be throwing Nikki Haley a fundraiser on Thursday in McLean, Virginia, which is a suburb of Washington, an elite town that sits on the banks of the Potomac River and is less than 3 miles from Washington. Haley will be having a Thursday campaign event in Falls Church, Virginia, a town located less than 8 miles from D.C., that overwhelmingly voted for Joe Biden. On Friday, Haley will have an event in Washington, D.C. The Uniparty is financially backing Haley despite her historic GOP primary losses to Donald Trump. Loomer Unleashed reported that Haley spent much of February attending fundraisers hosted by her Democratic mega donors in the cities of New York, San Francisco, and Los Angeles. Like McConnell, Haley has many Uniparty donors, but no actual support from the American people. As I have told you many times in the past, we do not have a two-party system in America. We have a uniparty. There's very little difference, not a dime's bit of difference between Mitch McConnell and Charles Schumer, between Mitt Romney and Nancy Pelosi, between Lindsey Graham and Pocahontas. These people are all the same, folks. And you can bet your bottom dollar that they want Nikki Haley instead of Donald Trump. Republicans and Democrats, the uniparty, their dream president would be Nikki Haley. That's why she hasn't gotten out of the race. Because if they are successful in bringing down Donald Trump, in their minds, that ushers in Nikki Haley into the forefront of the race for the GOP nomination. And if somehow Nikki Haley can become the GOP nominee, then it really doesn't matter who runs against her. It could be Biden, it could be Gavin Newsom. It really doesn't matter, because at that point, the uniparty would be happy with either. They'd love to have Biden. They'd love to have Nikki Haley. They'd love to have Gavin Newsom. They'd love to have Nikki Haley. They'd love to have anybody else and or Nikki Haley. That would suit them just fine. That's what's going on this Thursday. Listen, give me a big thumbs up down below and like this video. I would appreciate that. Thank you for all the comments, and comment down below if you would. I'd love to hear what you've got to say. Subscribe to the Triple T channel if you have not yet. Love to have you come and join our growing community. Everybody go out there and have a great Wednesday. This is Trailer Trash Tim, and I will see you soon.